Greetings to my lecturer Sir Rafiq and to anyone else that may be watching. My name is Daniel Haikal, and today I will be presenting a speech titled A Brief History of the Modern Computer. The modern computer is undoubtedly a modern marvel, yet we often underappreciate the vital role it plays in our society. Nowadays, it is not an understatement to say that many aspects of human civilization heavily depend on modern computers, from the way we manage the economy, governance, and of course the way we communicate and socialize. Since newer generations have been brought up in a world where computers are omnipresent, I think it is best that we take the time to delve into the history of the modern computer to better appreciate our dependency on it. Therefore, in my speech, I would like to speak briefly about three significant events in the development of the modern computer during the 20th and 21st century, namely the proposed notion of a Turing machine, the development of the first computer language, COBOL, and the release of the original iPhone. Okay, let's get started by looking at the proposed notion of the Turing machine. The Turing machine was proposed by British mathematician Alan Turing in 1936. This machine is not a real device, but an abstract concept designed to explain how an autonomous machine could be programmed to solve computational problems by strictly adhering to preset rules and instructions. Without going into too much detail, the machine would be given a tape that has been divided into cells, each containing data of a problem encoded into binary numbers and symbols. The machine would then read each cell and change the cells to a new value based on the set of rules predetermined by the operator. Given enough time, the tape will then display the solution to the problem. Basically, the Turing machine proposed by Alan Turing in 1936 was a brilliantly developed prediction of how modern computers would work in the future. This abstract concept would later be applied when designing the first modern computers to address the industrial and wartime issues in the decade ahead. To recap, the Turing machine was an abstract concept that preceded the modern computer. Next, I am going to touch upon the development of the first computer programming language, COBOL. In 1953, Grace Hopper developed the first computer language, COBOL. COBOL, an acronym for Common Business-Oriented Language, was a coding language that allowed coders to communicate in pseudo-English with the computer. Prior to COBOL and similar languages, the insertion and extraction of coded information from computers was a laborious and error-prone process. COBOL streamlined this process, and the language quickly became the standard vernacular of programmers and computer scientists alike. As a result of this, early software development became much more productive, as indicated by the development of the UNIVAC and the IBM 701 EDPM. Grace Hopper was one of the most influential figures in the development of the modern computer during the 20th century. Many of the common IT jargon used today are credited to her. As recollected by her colleagues at Harvard University, she coined the term debugging when a moth was removed from a marked computer which was impeding operations. To reiterate, the creation of the computer language COBOL was a watershed moment in the development of the modern computer. Lastly, I will briefly explain the importance of the release of the original iPhone. The original iPhone was a landmark device in the evolution of the modern computer. Released in 2007, the iPhone was a revolutionary device that managed to pack many computer functions into a handheld device, the smartphone. At the time of release, Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal concluded that despite some flaws and the feature omissions, the iPhone is, on balance, a beautiful and breakthrough handheld computer. Although it was not a flawless device by any means, the iPhone set a smartphone precedent that has become the daily driver of many small businesses. Now that you are informed on the history and very significant events in the development of the modern computer, this speech is complete. I have covered three important points, which are the proposed notion of the Turing machine, the development of the first computer language, COBOL, and lastly, the release of the original iPhone. Now that you understand a brief history of the modern computer, I hope that you all can learn to appreciate how the modern computer became the foundation of our current day human civilization. From its humble and more abstract beginnings to its colossal role in everyday life, the modern computer is a human marvel birthed out of human ingenuity and perseverance. Thank you for listening.